Ryanair. We used to all receive 6 2-litre bottles of water on board the aircraft, one for each crew member, one spare. That no longer happens.
Why?
Because the culture of the company is there to drive down costs no matter what the impact is to the employee or to the passenger.
To keep their staff costs down, around half their pilots are hired indirectly through agencies. Ryanair don't recognise trade unions.
Give me a word association for O'Leary.
A bully.
Ryanair say that's his opinion. Their employees enjoy full legal rights and they're creating up to 1,000 new jobs each year. The pilot has no complaint about the planes he flies. Ryanair have one of the youngest fleets in the business, and surprise, surprise, they got their Boeing 737s at a very good price.
I wouldn't even tell my priest what discount we got off a Boeing aircraft. Some things will be forever secret.
But if we don't know how low the price was, we know how Ryanair got it down. Spin back to 2002, the year after 9/11, a perfect buyer's market, with other airlines cancelling or delaying orders. Boeing had supplied Ryanair before and badly wanted their business again. But so did the competition, Airbus. Airbus got very close to a deal with Ryanair, so close they thought they'd beaten Boeing. They were wrong. At a major presentation in London last month, I asked Airbus about the Ryanair negotiation.
It is the case, isn't it, that Ryanair took you right up to the wire in 2002, but still he went to Boeing after that. Is it hard to do business with Michael O'Leary and Ryanair?
Well, that would appear to be the case, but time heals all wounds, and the fact is that he's talking about buying Airbus aircraft now, but we're not in any negotiation with him at the present time.
It was strictly business, Ryanair say, and they never got acceptable terms from Airbus. So, Michael O'Leary plays hardball. And talking to us afterwards, John Leahy played hardball back.
The price he wants for airplanes, I'm not willing to match. So I don't see that it takes, we actually put an awful lot of effort in that until he comes up with more realistic pricing expectations for Airbus airplanes. They are better airplanes, you know, and they demand a premium in the market. Michael has to realize that if he wants to do business with us.
He doesn't pay premiums, does he?
Doesn't seem to be the case.
It's as if the word ruthless is written right through Ryanair like a stick of seaside rock. And we were to learn for ourselves just what it can be like to be at the sharp end of a Michael O'Leary negotiation.
The Ryanair annual general meeting's taking place inside that Dublin hotel. We wouldn't have missed it for the world. But unfortunately, though we asked to come, they said we couldn't.
Then Ryanair told us that Michael O'Leary would give us an interview afterwards, but on one condition only, that we ran every word he said uncut. We refused, but promised to be fair. And then, like a force of nature, he was upon us.
Good afternoon, folks.
Oh, hello.
Leave your panorama.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Why is it you won't agree not to an unedited interview? It's very surprising if the BBC is interested in free speech.
Because
you won't agree to an unedited interview.
if it was a live program, of course it would be unedited.
No, but it's a recorded program. Yeah, as long as you don't edit it. But all you want to do now is ask the questions and then cut the answers. Sorry. If you want to agree to an unedited interview, happy to answer any questions you have. It's quite straightforward.
But this conversation we're having now
will be cut to suit the panorama agenda.
Well, judge for yourself, but it felt like the Ryanair agenda from where I was standing. Michael O'Leary was courteous to a fault, but determined to stay in charge.
Also, buy shares in Ryanair, Europe's largest, lowest fares airline. Sadly, this will all be cut out of the Panorama programme because Panorama have an agenda that, despite the fact that Ryanair being the lowest fared airline in Europe, despite the fact that Ryanair being Britain's favourite airline, this year carrying 3 times the number of passengers of British Airways, that doesn't suit the BBC agenda. Honestly,
and his point was that he didn't want to be manipulated by us. You had to admire the guy.
Outspoken. I wonder why they call you outspoken.
They don't call me outspoken. They call me beloved, caring, sensitive, shy and retiring.
I'd become the guest on the Michael O'Leary show, and he'd shown me how he does business and gets what he wants.
He's built a character in our minds that we expect him to be rude, we expect him to be objectionable, but we also expect him to be rude and objectionable with airport authorities and with his competitors. And we'll forgive him if he's rude to us as one of his passengers, as long as he gives us a cheap price.
And it's worked a treat. To get its cheap prices, Ryanair's customers simply have to travel on their terms. The more flexible you are, the lower the price. Imagine the ultimate Ryanair customer, ready to fly at any time to any destination without any awkward baggage. We've met him.
We're going to miss our flight, so we're running.
His name's Alex Reed. He's 16 and plane crazy.
That was our flight calling for us.
Taking full advantage of Ryanair's special offers, he goes on away days with his mates from his local airport, Leeds Bradford, to Dublin.
The most I paid is £5 return, which is £2.50 each way, and usually I pay about 2p, which is the least you can pay for the flight, so it's very cheap.
You're not having me on?
2p.
Not airport taxes on top?
Nope, nothing.
No extras?
No, we don't check in any bags. I pay with the Visa Electron, because my banks give me a Visa Electron, and if I don't buy any drinks or anything on the plane, it's 2p, so it's all really cheap.
Alex has just started at aviation college, and his dream is to be an airline pilot.
I hardly dare ask you at this point which airline you'd like to fly for.
Well, clearly, I'd love to fly with Ryanair, definitely. But yeah, it's my big dream.
But most Ryanair passengers aren't like Alex, footloose and fancy-free, able to pounce on the latest 2p offer and take off at short notice. Many are used to other airlines, but they've been lured to Ryanair by its low fares. And then they want it both ways. O'Leary's prices with the in-flight service they used to get.
If they started adding bells and whistles to that and it involved our then having to pay a higher price to travel, then the brand is dead.
Because cheap, 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 that's what Ryanair is.
That's what an advertising man will describe as brand essence. That's the heart of the organisation.
O'Leary still has huge ambitions. He's built low-cost Ryanair in Europe, and next, Ryanair already owns 30% of Aer Lingus, and it's tried to take it over twice. He's talked about starting a new operation to fly transatlantic, but this time it wouldn't just be cheap.
There'd be a business class and an economy class. And the economy class would be very cheap. I mean, we said €10 across the Atlantic, but the business class would be very expensive.
The new operation wouldn't be called Ryanair, but Gary Davis says O'Leary could still be heading into trouble.
How do you have a group of people that are marketing, that are managing the meanest, leanest operation in the market, and then all of a sudden you're trying to pander to the needs or the perceived needs of the business customer that wants a slightly different experience?
There'd be a real risk in not being able to stick to their very, very simple winning proposition.
I think you put your finger right on it. There'll be a temptation to trade up. And once you've taken that temptation, once you've taken that pill, then heaven help you.
Ryanair has helped to Ryanize a whole industry. Only last month, British Airways announced that their customers will soon have to pay to book their seats more than 24 hours before they fly. Virgin are now charging for second bags. Many Ryanair customers have precious little loyalty to the brand. They're guided unsentimentally by the bottom line, just like the airline itself. They can always fly away. Let Michael O'Leary have the last word, as if I could stop him.
We would like to ask you about the secret of the success of Ryanair, and we would like to ask you...
There is no secret to the success of Ryanair. It comes from offering the lowest fares in Europe and providing the best customer service. That's why 67 million people this year will fly with us.
And I'd like to
Far
ask
more
you...
people than will watch Panorama, as many of you know, or indeed the BBC.
Vivian White flies Ryanair, and you can see the full, uncut and uncensored Michael O'Leary interview, or should I call it in-flight announcement, on our website, in which he actually says he's a fan of ours, bbc.co.uk/panorama.
Next week, caught on camera.
Oh! Bye-bye, Conte. The ugly reality of race hate and antisocial behaviour in Britain today.
Bang out. Sorry. What?